Isaiah chapter 13, verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. I'm going to read that in the NLT. It says, hear the noise on the mountains. Listen as the vast armies march. It is the noise and shouting of many nations. The Lord of heaven's armies has called this army together. Before I get started, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai Brakathum to you hopefully elect out there, man. And as I read, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man, he's calling the armies together. All right, he's drawing these nations more and more to war because we are in the time of war. I'm going to get that in the book of Ecclesiastes. Chapter 3, verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. It says a time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. I'm going to jump down to the point. And in verse 8 it says, a time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. All right. So as I said in verse 1, there's a time and a season for everything. All right. And contrary to popular belief, we're not in a time of peace. We're not in a time of coming together in harmony and singing kumbayas, man. We're in a time of war. All right. And again, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai is drawing these nations more and more towards the third woe, as the scriptures talk about. All right. Because there is a third world war that is prophesied to take place in the Bible, man. All right. And it's in the height of World War III. You know, when those nuclear missiles get shot off, that's when the elect are going to get redeemed. You see, so this is why, you know, concerning when we hear about the wars and rumors of wars, I'll get that. In Mark chapter 13, verse 7, it says, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled. All right, because to the hopeful elect, we understand it's not the end all be all. You know, a lot of these nations, man, you got NATO going back and forth with China. All right. You know, you got Russia and Belarus. It's being said that they may make a counterattack or make some type of move against Lithuania, which is a NATO member. All right, Lithuania is a part of NATO. You see, I mean, you know, there's a lot of news right now concerning World War III. You know, and this pretty much what this video, you know, is pretty much going to be a World War III news and update. But I'm gonna read that again. It says, and when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled. For such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. All right, because, you know, before this world's war goes nuclear, of course, you know, that MOTB has to be mandated, which, you know, that might be I'd have to do another video on that because, hey, they're talking about they're talking about that on the mainstream media, how, you know, by possibly before the end of the year, basically people are gonna at the swipe of a hand, you know, people are gonna be able to basically buy and sell, as the prophecy states. You see, and you know, Lord's will, I'll get around to doing a video on that. But nevertheless, as brothers have been saying, we've been saying, man, prophecy speaking, you know. But just to, you know, keep the tension on the topic of the subject here, dealing with World War III news, right? You know, I'm gonna play this first video here. It says prepping to invade the U.S., Iran, Russia, China to run war drills in Latin America. Because you see, as these, again, you got NATO and America and Europe, for that matter, basically positioning themselves to attack the bear, to go at Russia. Well, hey, Russia is doing the same thing. And it's being said that with these war drills that they're going to start doing next month, I do believe that, Russia, Iran, and these nations, they can come on to American soil and invade America, from Latin America. So I'm gonna play this video here.
Hello everyone, Jim here from Storm Warning News. And could it be that Russia, China, and other nations are potentially prepping for an invasion of the United States? Iran, Russia, and China are planning to run war drills in Latin America. Let's look at some details. Iran, Russia, and China are gathering up to run a series of major war drills in Latin America in a show of force meant to signal how these militaries can reach the U.S. Venezuela, under the leadership of anti-U.S. socialist President Nicolas Maduro, is scheduled to host the War Games in mid-August, according to a report by the Center for a Secure Free Society, which is a think tank that tracks malign regimes. Along with 10 other nations, Russia, China, and Iran will move their militaries into the Western Hemisphere for war drills that will pre-position forward deployed military assets in Latin America and the Caribbean, per that report. The war games, known as the Sniper Frontier Competition, show that these malign regimes from across the globe are uniting and getting ready to make a loud statement that the region is ready to embrace the multipolar force, according to the think tank report, which focuses on Latin America's embrace of authoritarian regimes. A key portion of Russia's military is prepping to bring, for the first time, some of these military games to the Western Hemisphere, even as Moscow is bogged down with war in Ukraine. Now, these war drills are one of the starkest signs to date that Latin America's coalition of anti-U.S. regimes is working to boost relations with Russia, China, and Iran. Friends, don't ever think that it's not possible. As a matter of fact, I think it is very likely that the U.S., the continental U.S., could be invaded. Yes, invaded by Iran, Russia, China, most likely spearheaded by China and Russia, that they could come through the southern border, especially considering that these war games are going to be taking place in August in Latin America. Don't ever consider this. Don't ever think that we're too good, that we're too big, that the U.S. is too powerful, that this cannot happen.
And that's exactly what these people, these Americans, think, that this place can never get touched. This place can never get invaded. Because, America, concerning warfare, America never has been touched or beaten or defeated or invaded. But as I always like to say, as one of America's titles being the virgin daughter of Babylon, where, hey, her virginity is about to get popped, and America's about to get touched. All right. So that's exactly what is going to happen. America is going to get this land is going to get invaded. I'm going to read this in Ezekiel chapter 38. Verse 11, it says, "And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates." Because, pretty much anyone can just come into America. This, like I said, this place is without walls, without bars, without gates. You see, And this pretty much feeds into the pride of these Americans, because again, they don't think this place can get touched. America's never lost a war. This, this will never happen. But that's exactly what the Lord wants. That's exactly what He wants you people to think. That's exactly what He wants you to think. Because it also goes into in the book of Revelation. Let me get this real quick. Revelation. Just bear with me real quick. Revelation. Just bear with me. Bear with me real quick. So Revelation chapter 18, verse 7, it says, how much she glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow will give her. Because that's all these people do, man. They just, live for the moment, right? Like I said, the pride of these people, man, they live to please their flesh. Everyone's not YOLO spirit, right? Just do whatever you want. Have fun, right? The land of the free, right? It says, so much torment and sorrow will give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow and shall see no sorrow. And this is how these Americans think. We speak on these plagues, the death, the destruction that's getting ready to come in. Hey, these people, come on, this is America. This is never going to happen. What's going on in Sri Lanka? What's going on in because I've been reporting on this, or I've reported on it while it was hot out there in Myanmar, right? And all these other places, and we've been trying to tell people that all that's coming here, man. But these are people's attitude. Listen, I am no widow, man. I shall see no sorrow, right? It says, therefore shall her place come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. So at a moment, all right, in a moment, this place is gonna, because when the destruction comes, it's gonna come all of a sudden, and ultimately that the ICBM missiles are gonna completely obliterate this place, right? But nevertheless, this is what's coming. And these people, they have the attitude that this is never gonna happen to America. Not America. This is the great and mighty kingdom, right?
I believe this is a strong likelihood that this will happen. Remember, end times, 10 kingdoms in the great tribulation, which is coming at us furiously and quickly. America will not remain a sovereign nation during that time. America will be absorbed into one of 10 kingdoms. Therefore, America as we know it, the sovereign nation as we know it, that is already collapsing, that collapse has to be completed. This could just be one more way that collapse gets completed. Never consider this impossible, my friend.
Right. And going into because I don't know if he's referring to the 10 kingdoms. I don't know if he's referring to the what is it, I think it's in this chapter, but going into the basically going into the NATO and the EU, which that's a another breakdown from the time. But yeah, man, America's going to lose their sovereignty. When the wars will break out, there will be martial law and things like that, which, like I said, these plagues that we've been talking about to come, People think it's not going to happen, but hey, in a moment, all right, hey, the Lord's going to bring calamity, man. He's going to bring death, destruction. You see? But yeah, man, the talks of a possible invasion, right, from the southern borders, because again, America, and the EU, and the NATO, they've pretty much been positioning themselves to, strike Russia. But hey, Russia, they've been strategically making moves as well, and this is one of those moves. It's being said that hey, because you got the West is supplying the Ukraine, which is Moscow said that hey, y'all keep doing that, it's just going to further the affliction, and they went on to further send threats on how hey, y'all want to keep doing this, y'all want to keep making these moves, then hey, we could supply, or excuse me, we could take over Alaska. They were talking about taking over Alaska, which is right there, a strategic position for Russia to attack America. And if I'm not mistaken, Alaska was previously owned by Russia. So you see again, man, the Lord is moving the chess pieces. I think I brought this out in the last World War update, but going into how the West is basically setting up shop in Poland, right? And you got NATO, they're boosting their military presence, right, throughout Europe. Yeah, US is ramping up forces in Poland. Trying to read this here, which I'm gonna get this real quick because hey, that means or that could lead to a possible draft, because again, they're setting a permanent basis. So that means they could need more troops. They need to draft more troops, which is prophetic, because when you go here in Second Esdras, because a lot of people are going to get sent out to war, and it's going to be a one-way ticket, because if you go over there, once you get shipped out over there, man, it's a one-way ticket. You're not coming back. Like I said, as a prophecy states, man, when in the height of World War III, that's when Yahushua is going to make his return, and you go to get sent out to World War, man, to that World War III. You're going to fight Yahushua. You're getting sent out to fight Yahushua. So that's a one-way ticket. But nevertheless, it is prophesied. It is prophetic. There will be a draft. And I'm going to get that in 2nd Esdras, chapter 16. Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 33. It says, the virgins, matter of fact, I'll read verse 32, and the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel therethrough. Because, again, America, I said it before, is going to be very unrecognizable. There's going to be a lot of warfare, bombs going off. It's going to be some shit out of a movie, bombs going off, it's going to be very hectic. So, hey, America, because again, a lot of this stuff is already going on in other places, is war riddance, but it's coming to America, buildings going to be laid desolate, bombs, explosions. It's just, like I said, it's going to be some shit straight out of a movie, it's going to be very chaotic out here. It says, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn having no husbands. Because a lot of women are going to end up becoming widows, all right, or without protection, without a hedge, All right. It says their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So you see, it said in the wars, because again, there's going to be a draft, and a lot of people are going to get sent out to that war, war. And like I said, it's going to be a one-way ticket. You're not coming back home. You see, and this is where, hey, the Lord, he's stirring all this up, man. But going back to this again, because, you got NATO and America setting up bases throughout Europe. And I'm going to just read some of this real quick. It says Biden to send more land, naval, and aerial forces to Europe amid the war in Ukraine. U.S. to establish a new permanent base in Poland. U.S. to deploy 2 more squadrons of F-35 fighter jets to the U.K. U.S. to raise number of destroyers in Spain from 4 to 6. U.S. to deploy additional air force to Germany, Italy. NATO invites Sweden, Finland to become members in the wake of Russia's war, which, all this is basically pissing Russia off, right? Because, despite the rhetoric, the shit talk that the West promotes against Russia, you see, America and Russia, America and NATO, they've been provoking Russia. All right. They've been provoking Moscow because, hey, they've been talking about how they didn't want no war. They don't want no smoke. Russia, they didn't want no smoke at first, but their hand has been forced. You see, America and NATO, they've been poking at the bear. They forced his hand. And now to land back off that, what I read in Ezekiel in 38, the Lord is going to put that evil thought into them Russians. All right. You see, because like I said, now, hey, like I said, this guy, he's Moscow. They're threatening to take over Alaska, and they're challenging America to all the threats and the challenges. So more and more, the Lord's putting that evil thought into them Russians, man. And like it tells you in Ezekiel 38, how he would put that hook into the jaws and put them back in that old Soviet-like spirit back on them Russians. But to read on, it says China bashes idea of Asian NATO, because like I said, NATO, they're talking shit to China, because again, you got the BRICS nations, and the 2 major superpowers right now, China and Russia, doing all type of joint drills and stuff like that. And NATO is basically accusing them of forming a Chinese NATO, so to say. But hey, the China and Russia, they're talking basically, they're like, man, listen, y'all trying to bully everyone. Well, hey, we're trying to do our own thing, and well, what's the difference, y'all? Expanding your territory, right? Sticking your nose in people, other people's business, right? And just being a bully. Well, why can't we form, for our protection? Why can't we form our own little alliance? That's pretty much kind of what's going on. But it says Russia warns West of consequences of arming Ukraine. Like I said, it says NATO declares Russian Federate as the most significant and direct threat to the bloc. You see, so hey, more wars and rumors of wars, man. And like I said, China is, NATO and America, they're positioning themselves to surround Russia, and hey, Russia, they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing, and anyone in their right mind would do the same thing to protect themselves, man, to protect what's theirs. Like I said, as much shit talk as Russia, or the West, they're propaganda against Russia and them, man. Hey, you can't blame them, because they were basically forced into this situation. But nevertheless, it's all prophetic, because it's all of Yahweh Shema Shah anyways. You see, but you got I think I mentioned how NATO is ramping up their forces. I think they were the numbers were somewhere between 300,000 to 500,000 troops. You know, I think it was like 30,000 to 300,000 troops. You know, trying to get more troops. You know, spread them throughout. You know, so hey, man, it's getting ready to go down. Something's getting ready to go down, man. You know, and you know, it's just only a matter of time before, hey, you know, this thing pops off. Because hey, to go back on that with the Poland, how U.S. is setting up permanent bases in Poland. Well, hey, if Russia does something to Poland, then hey, that an all-out war can break out from there, from that, man. You know, tension is hot, man. It's hella hot. You know, I'm gonna play this video here.
Here's a quick update if you were not in my live this morning. Japan is alarmed by China and Russia team up as NATO turns an eye to Asia. For the third week in a row, Russia and China has been circling Japan, and it's really concerning the Japanese government. Russia withdraws weapons and troops from the Finnish border for possible deployment to Ukraine. Except I don't think it's for Ukraine, I think it's for Lithuania and Poland. I think a war for the Baltic states is about to start, as Russia has now turned on their wartime economy. So that makes them France, Germany, UK, and the United States. And they're going to cancel the Barents Treaty with Norway, which started in 2010, which allows the two to sail within certain lanes of their own seas. But now Russia won't be able to go into Norway's, and Norway won't be able to go into Russia's side, which Norway already reacted bad to this. We now have the state Duma members making threats towards Finland and Sweden, saying their citizens are not protected if NATO bases are in their countries. It will make them targets. Now they're saying again, cyber attacks can trigger Article 5.
So yeah, man, it's about to go down out here, man, and Lord's will it does. You know, Lord's will, man. Because hey, with that, it talks about how China has been, and Russian, because you know China has been basically harassing Taiwan for a minute. You know, aerial and by sea. You know, the naval. Just right outside the territorial zones and things like that. But it's been said Russia has been doing the same thing too, and that caught alarm to that alerted the Japanese, which I do believe America backs the Japanese. I do believe America and Japan are allies. But basically, hey, you got more threats because China and Russia, they've been telling Japan that, hey, you know, if you do anything to interfere, then, you know, hey, you got consequences to pay. You know, because again, basically China and Russia, they've been kind of surrounding Taiwan. You know, so hey, they've been telling the Japanese, man, hey, y'all just better mind y'all business, or y'all gonna have to suffer the consequences. You know, and like I said, America is allied to Japan, so hey, you know, it's you know, again, the Lord he's moving the chess pieces, man. You know, because another thing, and I'll probably end it off on this, is, you know, save the best for last, so to say, but. You had Biden just make the trip out there to Israel, I do believe, or the Middle East, because you see, hey, them Israelis, you know, those Amalekites, man, they're trying to stop Iran from getting those missiles, man, because they know if Iran gets those missiles, it's going to be their destruction. They know that. So they're trying to do everything they can to stop them from getting those missiles, which, for those that don't know, Iran is backed by Russia, and Israel is backed by America. You see? So, because it's been said now, it's been in talks now that Israel has been preparing to attack Iran nuclear facility sites, because they believe that, you know, the Iranians have been secretly on the low, you know, stacking up on missiles, and they're not supposed to, because it recently came out about how in some nuclear sites or factories or whatever you call them, Iran has been removing the cameras and whatnot, and it's being reported that Iran has been on the low, secretly on the down low, amping up their uranium production, which that's a major element in creating those missiles. You see. So again, Israel is trying to at all costs stop Iran from getting those missiles, man, because they know that means their destruction. And you just had again Biden go over there to try to, because you see America has ties to Israel. So because you see, everyone wants that landmass over there for strategic reasons, but nevertheless, not to get too deep into it. Again, you have Biden go over there, man, and this is reportedly what's been talked about behind books or behind closed doors, so to say, about what they could do to stop Iran from, doing these things. Because I believe you had Israel do something to the Iranians. They did something. I forgot what it was exactly, but they did that, and you had Moscow basically telling Israel that they need to calm down, man, because again, Iran is backed by Russia. So you see, hey, again, the way that all this is playing out, man, call Yahweh Shema Shai, the Lord is moving the chess pieces, man, as I read in Isaiah 13, man. I'm gonna get this, because again, as it's been broken down, this war is really going to start when Iran and Israel start going at it. All right. Those are the two major key players. All right. Because from there, that's when America's going to get drawn in. Russia's going to get drawn in. All right. And then, hey, it's just going to be all out war from there, man. So, hey, man, it's about to go down out here, man. Let me get this in Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. All right. And the least of the flock being Israel. All right. Because when you look on a world map, man, that little state of Israel, that little land of the landmass of Israel, landmass that you can barely see, is causing all this ruckus, so to say. It's causing all this tumult, and it's going to be because of Israel. Again, America's going to get drawn into this war, and then ultimately America's going to get destroyed. All right, as well as Israel. All right, because when those missiles get shot, they're going to be hitting different parts of the earth. But as far as Israel and America, both these land masses are going to be completely destroyed, and the difference is Israel will be built back up, because that's going to be our headquarters, but America is never going to be established ever again. All right. And that is the difference, but again, this war is going to start off with Israel and Iran. So, if anything, pay attention to Israel and Iran. All right. Because that's what's really going to set it off. As far as Russia, NATO, and, all the other players, again, the Lord's just moving the chess pieces, because as I often talk about, the Lord is building that pressure, and when this thing pops off with Israel and Iran, all the other pieces to the puzzle will already be there, will already be in place. So the way that the Lord has this playing out, man, it is beautiful, it is beautiful. And it's just a matter of time, man. Just got to sit back and continue to watch prophecy play out. But that was just, another war news and update, man. Hopefully this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Yahweh Shema Shai Thumb to you hopefully elect. Lord's on until next time. Shalom.